But anyway, what was the topic that we were talking about? I know you said routine, but we don't have to talk about routine.
I was going to talk about, do you journal?
I don't journal.
Really? Never?
No.
Oh, man. I feel like you would be someone to journal.
What are we journaling though? I'm somebody that's like very organized, but like I feel like I get very organized, and then like if I fall off for a day, I'm so unorganized and I lose my shit. But are you talking about journaling as far as like how your day was going, what you did, this and that?
Depends what stage of life I'm in.
Okay.
When I was having, some mental struggles a couple years ago, I would journal my feelings to process information, which is a really, really good way to process things if you're not in therapy.
Right. So let me correct you. I journal, but I journal through videography.
Okay.
So like my videos.
Well, that's not journaling though. But it's your form of journaling.
It's a form of journaling of me because I've never been a writer, and on top of that, I'm very visual. So making videos of my traumas and like my struggles, that's my mental. So when we were talking earlier, when you were saying to me earlier, like you're going to look back on this and look at that video, that is my journal of going through my social media and just like realizing I was here and now I'm all the way up here to where I'm at.
Yeah.
How far I've come. But a lot of people get upset with my stuff. And I'm glad we actually brought this up because this has been a topic that just happened the last couple of weeks. Over the past 2 months, I have gained the confidence of not giving a fuck about what anybody thinks.
Good.
Of what I say. Again, what I say, what I do, what I've done.
Good. I
have literally cleared myself out and I've aired myself out. I air my own bullshit. Yeah. I've done some wrong things. And it took a lot of eye-opening things to like realize, hey, I was out of character. I shouldn't have done these things, but I've learned from them.
Yeah.
A lot of people have such a hard time even admitting to themselves that they're a bad person for what they've done.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're fully a bad person, but you made bad decisions. I've made bad decisions, but it all was me being out of character and a point in my life where I just didn't have it all figured out.
Yeah.
And my videos, people get very sensitive to because it's graphic, it's this and that. I told you this before. People use social media as an SOS, as a sign for help. They want to tell people. If you ever have a friend going through stuff, what's the first thing you look at? Is their story or something on social media? Is because everyone's leaving breadcrumbs. And me, I visually journal like what my life has gone through. I don't like people thinking I have a perfect life. I suffer. And as I just showed you, people DMing me saying, thank you for this video. Like, this is such a clear message.
Yeah.
I want the message to be out there is that, like, I'm suffering, man. I was diagnosed with severe depression, and I believe I am bipolar. I'm still figuring out being tested for it, but I have severe anxiety and depression, and again, I've been by myself my whole life, so I've always taken care of it on my own. But I've just realized that I like showing people how to take care of it and the things that I personally do to get over it, because there have been so many people that have actually told me I've saved their life. Do you know how like...
Yeah, I do. I've had that too.
Do you know how, like, that makes me so emotional even talking about this right now. But, like, the fact that, like, one person can say that, and I've had hundreds of people reach out to me and say, dude, I cannot believe you went through this. I can't believe you're doing this. I've had women that I literally would fall in love with because they're so beautiful, message me and say, you're so brave for being this vulnerable in this society. They're like, I appreciate you doing all of this. And it's all been, it's been 90% good, 10% bad, but at the same time, I'll take any percentage. Yeah. I don't care because I'm
as long as you can help one person.
Yeah. And on top of that, I'm just living my life. I'm actually sharing my experiences. I don't want to like fake anything. I want everything to be authentic and real. And again, if it makes you feel uncomfortable, I'm sorry. This is my life.
Yeah.
My life makes you feel uncomfortable. You just want to look the other way then. I'm not doing, this is what I'm refusing to do. And Elon Musk, I give him a lot of respect for doing this. When he was on the podcast, he said he wanted to get rid of Instagram. Why? Because he said it makes people depressed. You're only seeing people on their good days. You're only seeing them with, like a brand new house, wealthy cars. But a lot of people are lying. Yeah. They're not posting on their worst days. I post only on my worst days.
True.
Every time I post, it's when I'm at my worst. The videos that I make, they're intended to show emotion and feeling. And this is my visual journaling every day of the struggles I deal with depression. It's, dude, there again, I think I'm almost on the verge of having manic depression, because there's severe and there's manic and there's different levels. But like, I'll go on a 3 to 7 day depression run of like, I can't get rid of it. And then I magically wake up one day and it's like my heart can breathe again. Depression, it just pushes you down, and like it makes you think so negative. I have literally had negative thoughts in my head. They're saying you can't do this, and it's just so weird hearing yourself say that, because you were writing this fucking story. And that's, I don't want people to feel like they're alone. The veterans out there, all of them. There's a way to deal with your mental health, and I tell everybody, call me, text me. If you don't have any of my info, DM me. I'm always willing to listen to people's problems. And I was at the gym the other day, and there was a girl named Kate. You know Kate from the gym, right? Girl with the red curly hair I was telling you about?
Yes.
Again, she stopped me, and like, you know, she was very sincere and said, hey, like, I really appreciate everything you're doing, because I'm struggling as well. And this is my whole purpose.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I would have never have known.
Yeah, you got to talk at, you should talk at some like, you know, suicide houses, like drug, like substance abuse houses. Like, I'm starting to get into that stuff, because I really want to
do that. But yeah, I also want to start, you know, maybe a foundation.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I want to, this is going to be a new podcast that's going to be for, you know, mental health. And I want people to come on here, and I want them to know us, and I want us to just talk it out.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much, I want to spread this so far. And like, people talk the talk on social media saying spread awareness. No, I'm not just saying it. I'm practicing what I fucking preach. We're spreading it, because there are so many people that just feel trapped out there and just feel alone. And I don't want them to feel the way I felt for years.
Yeah, I know.
Being inside of your own body, feeling a fucking prisoner because you can't release your emotions. And again, man, you have to be a little vulnerable with certain people, but you need to let it out. Otherwise, this is going to destroy you.
For sure. It is. It's very great to be like doing something that you're doing and having like such a clear purpose for helping people with that.
Yeah.
And I would argue at the same time, it also is very heavy to be somebody that like is in that chair.
For sure.
Because then, you know, I have kind of struggled with that, because I think that people like just feel like they should come to me for everything, but no, like that is a therapist.
Yes.
I am not a therapist. You know, like I want to be there for people, but like I can't. Yeah, I mean, I have a kind of a boundary with that now. As much as I love to help people, it's very heavy to take on a lot of people's stuff, because that is a license, like that is something a professional needs to do. And I think that I
want people to have advice. I want to give advice, but I don't want to settle everything from. I want to give them the tools to get to a therapist.
And you got to have the right therapist too, because I hear a lot of stories when I say, have you been to therapy? And a lot of people have like tried going and they stopped. They didn't like that therapist. But like, I know people don't want to hear this, but it's just the same thing with anything, with relationships or friends or whatever. Like you're forming a bit of a friendship. It's very intimate.
Yeah.
You're telling a person, if you're not like, if you're not similar to that person, or they don't practice certain things that involve what you're going through, that's not the right, person for you. It's the same as like a relationship or like a friendship.
But that's the thing. You need someone that you're comfortable around.
Yeah.
And the only way I can relate is that I seeked help with therapy when I was in law enforcement. The lawyer that I was dealing with said, hey man, like, and I had told him I was going to take my life. I told my lawyer this, and my lawyer was such a great dude. He was pushed to me because the lawyer that was given to me by the FOP, the Fraternal Order for Police, the people that are supposed to be protecting me when I get hurt on the job, this lady wanted nothing to do with me because she didn't like my tone, because I was upset that I was dying from a head injury. And she was wondering why I had such an attitude, because she was talking to me like I was a child. So she threw me to this other lawyer that was a workers' comp lawyer. Greatest dude. He stayed by my side every step of the way. Kooky guy. Loved him though. He was so funny. He would comment on my social media. He's like, wow, man. He's like, you live such a life, with these beautiful women. He's like, you're such a good looking dude, man. He's like, you shouldn't be upset. Great guy. But I had told him the one time, I said, man, I see no way out of this. I said, I'm not going to get, I said, I'm running, I have bills running up. My credit cards are running up. I said, the FOP's not helping me. My job's not supporting me. I said, And on top of that, you know, my girlfriend just left me while I'm fucking dying. Big Pharma, they're charging me $800 a month for medication that was making me worse.
Oh man.
So he had said to me, he said, hey man, just, you know, he had called me. He said, listen, man, don't ever feel like there's no way out. He goes, if you ever need, just call me. He's like, but I'm going to refer you to a therapist I know. He's a great guy. He's very calm. And I talked to this guy for 6 months, and he would call me. And again, I never met him in person, but we would talk on the phone. And again, it's just like saying, being with the right person. And, you know, he wasn't agreeing with me with everything, but he was taking me back on certain topics that I would talk about. And he's like, hey, listen, the way you look at this, and this, why don't you look at it this way? Why don't you do this? And that half hour to an hour I talk with him, you know, once a week, it opened my mind up to a different thing, because one, I wasn't giving my personal information out anymore to friends that were claiming to be friends. And again, I don't ever like my friends knowing. A lot of my friends will never know when I'm going through stuff. It's not because I don't love them. It's not because my family members don't even know. I just internally hold things in. But this was the first time in my life where, you know, I'm talking to somebody that I know nobody else is going to talk about. I'm not saying this to a fake friend that's going to tell everybody, oh my God, I'm fucking crazy. Oh, he's going through this. It's just like, I didn't want to depend on people that are supposedly be friends or fake friends. I had somebody professionally talk to, and the stigmatism of that is like, you know, oh my God, you're fucking crazy. Oh my God, this. No, it's, you need to let things out. You need to talk to somebody. And it's just going back, God, man, to like when we were younger, like when we were in like middle school, like you say, if a kid was going to therapy, he got picked on or he got fucked. Like there was just so many things that would happen that it was crazy because of the stigmatism. Like, kids especially that have been through traumatic issues, they need help, because when they get older, that baggage is still there. It's never going anywhere. It's just put on the back burner in your mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of research on that now too, from a lot of Harvard professors and a lot of Princeton. You know, you can look up the studies, and we could even like probably link them, honestly, because it'd be really, really helpful for people to see that when you don't process emotions and you just internalize, it stays in you. It stays in your body. And there needs to be some form of processing. There's actually a Harvard study that I read. It was super freaking cool. And it was this woman that figured out that instead of, if you need to process something, it's this technique that they'll use in therapy. Actually, one of my therapists use it with me. It's called EMDR.
Okay.
And it's tapping. So they found that in your sleep, when you reach REM sleep, that's where you process. So that's why if you don't get enough sleep, you're not able to function properly, because your hormones can't function properly, especially if you're a woman.
Yeah.
So if you don't get sleep and your cortisol is really high and you have a lot of stress and all of that, which stress then can affect sleep, and then it's this whole cycle.
Yeah.
Then it
also make you age too.
Exactly. It ages you, everything. So that's why the recovery and, you know, getting stuff out of your body is so important. But she pretty much figured out that in REM sleep, what are you doing? Your eyes are moving back and forth. It's processing.
Yeah.
It's
like
actually clearing. It's like a vacuum.
Yeah.
It's like cleaning. Your brain is trying to clean itself and like just really, really process things. It's what that's what they found dreams are.
Yeah.
You processing things. That's why if you have anxiety about something, it's going to appear in a weird way because a certain part of your brain turns off.
Have you ever looked up certain dreams on the internet?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Wait. Let me finish. Let me finish this, and then we'll get into that. But basically what she found is when you cross your hands, you close your eyes and you do this thing called compartmentalizing.
Yeah.
And you basically like pick a jar, you visualize it, you bring all your emotions in, you pick the jar that you want, whatever it is, you close your eyes, you walk me through this entire thing. Then you get to a point where you start tapping, you start thinking about everything in the day that's upset you, maybe like just things that upset you in the past week. It depends how much shit you have, you know?
Yeah.
And then you start tapping and you start thinking about it and you just go. And you have to be crossed, your eyes have to be shut.
Yeah.
And then after that, assess how you feel after a minute. And if you don't feel great, just keep going and keep tapping. Boom, boom, boom. So and then after that, you have to visualize yourself compartmentalizing that jar or whatever it is, and then putting it away. Because it's basically compartmentalizing and taking those emotions and putting them, processing them, acknowledging them, and then putting it somewhere. But it's an act, and you have to do that. So that's a really big tool that I learned in therapy, and I would do it a lot because I went to therapy because I would internalize a lot of stuff too, and I wanted to have all that old stuff out of me.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of work for months, when I was in California with just getting all that stuff out. So it was really, really cool to do that. And then I feel like I was like this fresh woman. Honestly, I like came out of it. I'm like, because I had like goals in therapy, and I came in just telling her everything, you know, that I wanted to work on. So then like it was cool because once I like I graduated, you know, like I didn't want to have a therapist forever. It's kind of like I tell my clients, I don't want to have you as a trainer forever. I want you to like frolic and fly.
I think there's certain points in our life, like markers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a friend that recently got divorced a couple of years ago. And she did about 6-8 months of therapy. And she said that, again, therapy is a great thing, but it's not supposed to be permanent.
No.
It's supposed to let you release your demons. I mean, I almost look at it as like a quarterly thing. It's like a quarterly like shopping list of like things that you need to do and assess. Like, again, once a year, you should quarterly look at certain things that you need to improve or do.
I want to hop back in therapy for a couple months just because I feel like all these other like things in life out of my control have happened.
Yeah.
And I take on a lot of people's emotions, and I've been working through that. You know, I've still been trying to get through that, but you know, I wanted to kind of jump back in just to have somebody to talk to that's a professional in it, you know, to help me.
There are certain things you probably would talk about, and there are certain things that they might correct or tell you about that you didn't even
oh my God. You know how much stuff in therapy came up when my therapist was like, hey, you're telling me about all this, like what this person wants and their needs, but what about your needs? She would say that to me every session. Marielle, what about your needs? What about your needs? And then I'm like, oh my God, the more she said that, the more I realized that I was putting everybody's needs before myself.
Of course.
And then that's why I felt disconnected from myself a lot, because I was give. I love to give to people, but then for what cost? To sacrifice your own emotions to bring you in a state where all of a sudden you're not okay. Yeah. You know, it's just tough. Agree. It was tough, but it was cool because you have somebody to tell you that, you know, like a therapist.
On top of that, you can't, it's like, how about this? You can't coach yourself when it comes to fitness, because you know what I'm saying? You can't coach yourself when it, like if you were in a bodybuilding prep, you can't prep your own. It doesn't work that way. It's the same thing with, you know, having a therapist. Having a therapist, they're outside of your body. Like they are telling you from the outside looking in versus what you see and what you hear, because your body's accepting whatever.
Exactly. And that's why every therapist should have a therapist.
Yes.
You know, good therapists should have a therapist, because everybody is a human and everybody has emotions and everybody has to like process things and get them out.
So, and again, my aunt's actually a therapist. Cool. And she's a school counselor. And
what a beautiful woman.
When she had went through a divorce, she had seeked out a therapist. And again, it was the best thing for her because of her mental health. But you got to remember that therapists are still humans. They're still going through things. They don't have all the answers. They are in their own body. Yeah. They need somebody else to assess it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a professional that, like, one of my childhood friends, shout out Julia Bove. If I put this in my content, she's becoming a therapist, and she was one of my like childhood friends, and I'm really like happy for her. And I'm like, holy crap, it's really cool that she's becoming a therapist, because it's just interesting. Like, you just learn the way that the brain works and how people process things. And I even feel like I've given advice to so many people for so long in my life that people think I'm a therapist. And I'm like, I'm not. But it's up to me to like put that barrier in when I don't have it. I can't show up. And honestly, I'm going to say that the past 2 weeks, I haven't been able to like show up because like I've been in my own shit, you know, and like I, you know, kind of just, I isolated a little bit because I needed to. That was the way that I was coping, because I just feel like people, so many people.
Taking a step back almost.
Yeah, because it's just so many people expect things from me. And to be honest, I don't think those are the right people for me that expect me to be like on all the time.
For sure.
I don't like that. I don't really think that you know me like deep down inside, like who Marielle is. If you think that I am somebody that is always like gonna just provide you all this energy, I actually don't. My closest friends in life know that I have like a very, very chill, serious side, you know, very like introverted side. Yeah. So it's just goes to show that even when I put what I put on my social media, like I want to motivate people, obviously. So that's what I put out. But then obviously you can view that in a certain lens. Like, she's happy all the time. Like, you know, she did all these things. Like, I told my friend the other day that I struggled so much in California.
Yeah.
I tried to put that on my social media. I feel like I was vulnerable about that a little bit in some videos, but obviously it looks so beautiful and everything's so great, and I'm following my passion and my dream. But you know how freaking hard it was? Those were some of my hardest days. out there because I really pushed myself to the limit. So it was like such a struggle. Like I struggled with my mental health a lot in California for sure. You know, and that's why I thank God I was in therapy. Thank God I was in therapy. Yeah. Seriously, because
we're in a different environment too. So like being in a different environment, sometimes it can go one or two ways. You can either be completely open and accessible to everything, or you can be completely closed off. It depends on how it goes. It depends on where your mental state is at that point.
Yeah.
And also who you are as a person, your personality wise.
For sure.
Because some people, again, they move to a certain place and they're like, this is going to be great. And then they stayed in every day and they didn't want to socialize. They didn't want to venture out because they were homesick. And sometimes being homesick has a mental side to it too.
I was homesick. I actually really missed Pennsylvania when I was in California.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know, people wouldn't have expected that, but I just missed, I don't know, grass isn't greener on the grass is, you know, what's the phrase? Sure. Grass is greener on the other side or isn't greener, whatever.
The grass isn't always greener on the other side.
There you go. Yeah. But I really missed like Pennsylvania when I was out there. I keep bringing up California, but it's just because it was a major point of growth for me. I got into this cycle where all I was doing was working because I never started my own business. It was the first business I ever started. I failed.
That's mentally challenging too.
Oh my God. Imagine going to a place across the United States,
for sure,
driving there, you know, like I was with my brother, which is so great. But then meeting all new friends, every single day was new. It got so overstimulating. It wasn't even funny because everything was new. The roads were new. My brain was doing all this work. And then I'm starting my own business and I'm figuring out like marketing and like all these different things and how to get clients in like a completely new place where nobody knows my name. And it was just like it was so hard. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done. But I learned so many things from it. But
you applied everything else.
Yeah. But the point is though too also, if I didn't have a therapist during that time, like I don't know, dude.
You wouldn't be in the right state of mind that you are now.
Yeah.
Which is a growing phase.
Yeah.
I believe we're always growing as people, no matter what.
I know.
No matter what we do. Some people have a very arrogant side to them where they like, you know, we're not always growing. And the thing is, everything we do, I think that's what life teaches us, is that every day is a new day. And like every day is a learning day. Whether it's the same or not, you're still learning something. Mm-hmm. And there are some people that are forced to learn, and there's some people that force themselves to learn. But the thing is that every day is always a new day of learning. And that I think as people, you gotta remember when certain people go through things at a young age, they grow up very fast. I actually had dated a girl that lived in another country, and she lived on an island. And the phrase is, if you're an island girl, you grow up real fast. Why is that?
I've heard that.
It's because when you grow up on an island, you have tourists constantly coming in and out to trick you to do this. And they teach you so quickly because you have people there that aren't from your country. And the way it goes is, you know, women are getting tricked, they're getting robbed, people are getting robbed. There's so much other stuff going on. But when you grow up on an island, they say you grow up very quickly. You have to. You're forced to because of how fast the tourism is and how all the things that you learn so quickly.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's so interesting.
I think that applies to a lot of other people, is that you know, there are some people that grow up very quickly that had to either raise their brothers or sisters. Or their parents weren't home, so they had to take over the chores. There's people that, we're all different. We all had different situations. And I always tell people, don't judge a book by its cover. You have no idea where I came from. Mm-hmm. And I can't judge other people. I can judge from the outside looking in, but that's not right.
Yeah.
A lot of people do the same thing with me, with my photography and everything, and say, oh, you love doing this, having naked pictures of women everywhere. I said, no, there's an art to what I do. I'm not living the life I want to live. I said, the person that's married with kids, you know, nice house, secured life, that's what I want with my life. I said, but I choose to have this as a visual representation of art.
For sure.
But some people look at that from the outside looking in and say, you're living your best life. No, you don't know what my best life is yet. Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be, didn't we just say this in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Didn't we just say that
we did?
People aren't always you're not gonna be liked by everybody. And I think that
being accepted by everybody
are, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but are you just coming to that? Because I really have been in that for like, I don't care. Like if people don't like me, I don't even realize it. And if they don't, I can understand that it's something to do with them and nothing to do with me.
We have 1 minute left. And what I will say is, what I said to you in the parking lot is, yes, in the past few years, I've come to the realization that I'm not going to be accepted by everybody. And I used to get upset about that. And I am okay with not being accepted or understood. I don't want to be understood by everybody because not everybody is going to have the heart that I have and just know me for me. But the people that I care about, if they understand me, that's all that matters. But I am not going to be understood by everybody or liked by everybody. And to be honest, I don't want to be liked by everybody.
That's weird.
That to me is just, think about it, it just doesn't register with me. If I'm liked by everybody, that means I stood for nothing in my life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you have a really, really clear purpose.
If I have no enemies, that means that me, myself.
It's time to wake up.
Yeah. If I have no enemies, that means I stood for nothing in my life.
Damn right.
But on that note, everybody, this is our last segment. I will talk to you guys later. We are out.
TTYL.